two letters that represent k. Now, when it comes to spelling, that can be tricky, right? What do I use, C or K?
In this one-on-one session, you'll see Nicole Ormandy guide second grader B through a lesson on how to spell the k sound before a vowel with the letter C or the letter K. This is likely the first time B has had to decide between two possible letters to spell a sound.
All right, B, today we're going to learn a spelling pattern for the sound k. All right, so listen first to these words and tell me the first sound you hear in the word. Cab, cub, cut, cot, kid. Exactly, right? We keep hearing k at the beginning of those words. And there are two ways that we can represent k. We've been reading words that have k, and they typically start with which two letters?
C and K.
Exactly, they typically start with C and K. To warm up, let's trace each letter and say k, k. We'll do each letter 2 times.
B uses multiple senses, sight, touch, and sound, while tracing the letters. This type of multisensory learning reinforces the connection between the letters and the sounds they produce.
Now let's try the K. Excellent. All right, well done tracing our k sounds with C and K. What I want to show you now is that to help us remember when we use C versus when we use K when we're spelling, we can think about our cat and our kite images. Look at our cat. What letters do you see on the cat?
A U and A.
Yeah, I see the A. What letter is this?
O.
Yeah, and U, right? So we made our eyes out of A's, our little nose is an O, and the cat's little mouth is a U. So I'm going to try to remember this little image to help me think, oh yeah, C is used before A, O, or U.
Ms. Ormandy helps B remember this pattern by using pictures with embedded mnemonics, little clues attached to the letters.
What about the kite? What letters do we have at the center of our kite?
E and I.
This is because when we're spelling k before E and I, we use the letter K. So I'm going to say a few words, and you're going to fill it in, whether it's C or K. If you have to look up here to think about whether it's A, O, or U, or whether it's E or I, to help you know whether to use C or K, feel free to do that, okay? Let's look at this one. The word is supposed to be cub. What's the vowel in this word? Cub.
U.
U. So which one, C or K, for cub? What did you choose?
C.
Perfect. Why did you choose C?
Because there's a U.
Exactly. We see our U with C. All right, the next word's going to be kin. Kin. Now you've got it. What was the vowel in kin?
I.
All right, and I has a K before it. If I is my vowel, I'm spelling that k with K. What I'm going to ask you to do now is read back all of these words that you just filled in the k sound for.
Ms. Ormandy ends her lesson by asking B to read each word with accuracy.
Kit. Cub. Kin. Cup.
Reading words accurately is an important step toward becoming a fluent reader.
Well done. So let's just reiterate them. When do I use C for my k sound?
A, O, U.
Perfect. Right before an A, O, or U. When do I use K for my k sound?
R or E.
Right before I or E. Excellent. So I'm going to think about my cat and my kite to help me remember. C before A, O, U, K before E or I.
The next step for B and Ms. Ormandy will be to practice this new rule during dictation.
Nicely done. Good job.
Reading Universe is made possible by generous support from Jim and Donna Barksdale, the Hastings Quillen Fund, an advised fund of the Silicon Valley Community Foundation, the AFT, the Emily Hall Tremaine Foundation, and anonymous donors. Special thanks to AIM Academy and the AIM Institute for Learning and Research. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Are You Teaching? Reading Universe is a service of WETA Washington, D.C., the Barksdale Reading Institute, and First Book.